In the history of professional golf, there have been beautiful swings and ugly swings, but none quite like Gay Brewer's. His club traveled on two completely different planes, up one way, then looping around before coming down another. British commentator Peter Allis once called it one of the strangest swings that golf has seen.
I had a figure-8 swing, and everybody made fun of my swing, called me a whirly bird and all this, But, I've seen guys on the practice tee swing perfect on the practice tee. They go to the first tee and the ball goes over there or over here. But this swing of mine would repeat for me about every time.
But here's the thing, that bizarre figure-8 motion wasn't a mistake. It was something Brewer developed out of necessity. And somehow, it carried him all the way to a green jacket at Augusta National. Gay Robert Brewer, Jr. was born in 1932 in Middletown, Ohio, but grew up in Lexington, Kentucky. At 7 years old, he broke his left elbow in a playground accident at Lindley Elementary School. The injury never fully healed. His left arm could no longer fully extend or rotate, a permanent limitation that would shape everything that followed. At 10, Brewer started carrying bags as a caddy at Idle Hour Country Club. Then he picked up a club himself and began playing at Picadome Golf Course, a small public 9-hole layout in Lexington. With a left arm that wouldn't straighten, he had to invent his own way to swing. The club went back inside, his right elbow flew outward, then the whole thing looped around before coming down to the ball. He called it his figure-8 motion. Most coaches would have tried to fix it. His high school coach at Lafayette nearly cut him from the team after seeing it. Brewer later recalled, "After he saw the loop in my swing, he didn't think I was good enough. But then he looked at where the ball went. Where the ball went was impressive." Between 1949 and 1951, Brewer won the Kentucky State Boys Golf Championship 3 years in a row. In 1949, he also captured the U.S. Junior Amateur, the most prestigious event in American junior golf. When it came time for college, Brewer faced a problem. The University of Kentucky had no golf scholarships, so he did what few future Masters champions would ever do. He accepted a football scholarship instead. Head coach Bear Bryant, one of the most legendary figures in college football, brought Brewer onto the team. His role? Kneeling on the field, holding the ball for the kicker on field goals and extra points. A future green jacket winner, spending his college days on his knees in a football stadium. He stayed for 2 years before leaving to chase golf full-time. Brewer turned professional in 1956, but the early years were a grind. His unusual swing created timing problems on the demanding PGA Tour courses. Inconsistency followed him from tournament to tournament. In 1959, he finally got close, reaching a playoff against Arnold Palmer at the West Palm Beach Open. But Palmer, already one of the biggest names in the game, beat him on the 4th extra hole. It would take Brewer 2 more years of grinding before he finally learned how to win. And when he did, everything changed. In 1961, 5 years after turning professional, Gay Brewer finally broke through, and he didn't just win once. He won 3 times in a single season. The West Palm Beach Open, the Mobile Sertoma Open, and the Carling Open. That year, he finished 7th on the PGA Tour money list. The golfer with the ugliest swing on tour was suddenly one of its best players. By the mid-1960s, Brewer had established himself among the top tier of professional golf, just behind the dominant 4 of Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Gary Player, and Billy Casper. In 1965, he won the Hawaiian Open. The following year, Golf Digest named him their most improved golfer. He was consistently finishing in the top 10 at major championships, with 5th place finishes at the U.S. Open in both 1962 and 1964. Everything was building towards something bigger. Brewer was no longer just a journeyman with a funny swing. He was a serious contender. And in April of 1966, he walked into Augusta National believing he could win the Masters. He nearly did. The 1966 Masters, Brewer played 4 solid rounds and came to the 18th hole on Sunday, leading by 1 stroke. One simple par, that's all he needed to wear the green jacket. But Augusta has a way of punishing the slightest hesitation. His approach found the green, but his first stroke from the surface rolled well past the hole. The second came back, but stopped 5 feet short. 5 feet. That was the distance between Gay Brewer and a major championship. He stood over the ball, the entire gallery watching in silence. He struck it. The ball caught the edge of the cup and slid away. Bogey. Just like that, his 1-stroke lead vanished. He fell into an 18-hole playoff with Jack Nicklaus and Tommy Jacobs. The next day, whatever confidence Brewer had left seemed to have drained overnight. Nicklaus, calm and clinical, shot 70. Jacobs managed 72. Brewer, still visibly shaken, stumbled to a 78. He lost by 8 strokes. It wasn't just a defeat, it was a collapse. The golf world was not kind in its assessment. One newspaper wrote that Brewer would have nightmares about that experience for years. Many believed his best chance at a major had come and gone. In golf, there is no teammate to share the burden. Brewer stood alone with that missed 5-foot stroke replaying in his mind over and over. But what nobody knew was that the pain of 1966 would become the fuel for 1967.
I used to be embarrassed if I hit a bad shot. You know, I had a little complex about not hitting the shot, and I found out that everybody don't hit every shot. So you got to hit it and go find it and hit it again.
2 weeks before the 1967 Masters, Brewer sent a message to the entire golf world. At the Pensacola Open, he posted rounds of 66, 64, 61, and 71, finishing at 26 under par with a total of 262. He became the first golfer in PGA Tour history to score 125 or lower in back-to-back rounds. His 54-hole total of 191 set a new tour record. Brewer arrived at Augusta in the best form of his life. The 31st Masters tournament began on April 6, 1967. Brewer opened with a 73, placing him tied for 11th. A second round 68 jumped him into a tie for second. A third round 72 left him tied for third, 2 strokes behind the leaders. Nothing dramatic, just steady positioning. Then came Sunday, the final round, the round that would define his career. Brewer played solidly through the front 9, staying within striking distance. Then he reached Amen Corner, the most dangerous stretch at Augusta. Hole 13 birdie, hole 14 birdie, hole 15 birdie, 3 consecutive birdies through the heart of the course. The same venue that had crushed him 12 months earlier was now lifting him up. He finished with a 67, the lowest round of the day, and beat his lifelong friend Bobby Nichols by 1 stroke. It was the first golf tournament ever broadcast live from the United States to Europe. The BBC carried the signal across the Atlantic, and the first image European viewers saw was Gay Brewer slipping on the green jacket. After the final stroke dropped, Brewer said simply, "I redeemed myself." Later, he reflected more deeply. "I still recall the day when I became known not just as Gay Brewer, but Gay Brewer, winner of the 1967 Masters. The reality of the title, the biggest thrill I've had in golf, is something that can never be taken away." Jack Nicklaus, the man who had taken the jacket from him 1 year earlier, offered his respect. For Gay to come back the next year and win a green jacket was fitting for such a tremendous person and a darn good player. Around that time, Gay was as good as there was. The months following the Masters victory were golden. Brewer capped off 1967 by winning the Alcan Golfer of the Year at the Old Course in St. Andrews, beating Billy Casper in an 18-hole playoff. He defended the title the following year at Royal Birkdale. He represented the United States on the Ryder Cup team, finishing with a 3-2 record across 5 matches. For a brief window, Gay Brewer was among the finest golfers on the planet. But then the wind stopped. 5 years passed without a single PGA Tour victory. In 1969, at the Danny Thomas Diplomat Classic, Brewer carried a 6-stroke lead into the final round and lost it all. tying the tour's all-time record for the largest final round lead ever surrendered. The figure-8 swing that had conquered Augusta was no longer enough to close out tournaments. Then came 1972, and something far worse than losing. The night before the Masters began, Brewer was rushed to the hospital with severe bleeding ulcers. According to the PGA Tour media guide, the episode nearly took his life. He was forced to withdraw from the tournament he had won just 5 years earlier. But Brewer refused to let that be the final chapter. Just months after nearly dying, he returned to competition and won the Canadian Open, his 10th and final PGA Tour victory. 2 years later, the Golf Writers Association of America honored him with the Ben Hogan Award, recognizing his courage in the face of trying circumstances. The man with the funny swing had proven once again that he simply would not stay down. Beyond the trophies and the titles, what people remembered most about Gay Brewer was the laughter. He was, by every account, one of the funniest men to ever walk a fairway. His close friend Bobby Nichols once said that Brewer could have had a successful career as a comedian, on tour. He was the life of every gathering, the man who made even the most pressure-filled weeks feel lighter. When Brewer turned 50 in 1982, he joined the senior PGA Tour and called it like starting a whole new life. He won the Citizens Union Senior Classic in 1984, teamed with Billy Casper to win the Liberty Mutual Legends of Golf that same year, and at age 63, captured the MasterCard Champions Championship in 1995. The figure-8 swing still worked, even after 4 decades. But perhaps his greatest later role was as a storyteller at Augusta's Champions Dinner. Every April, past Masters winners gather for an exclusive meal, and Brewer became its unofficial entertainer. Tiger Woods, who belonged to a completely different generation, admitted after meeting Brewer at the dinner, man, he told more stories and was just incredible to be around. Jack Nicklaus, his old rival, recalled, "He always had a joke. Gay was just a fun-loving guy, and you always looked forward to being around him." Hale Irwin, a 3-time U.S. Open champion, perhaps captured Brewer's legacy best when he said, "He showed that you didn't have to have a perfect golf swing to have excellence in your game." I would tell some of the juniors here this week to look at how Gay and other great players of years ago did it their way. In 2001, at the age of 69, Gay Brewer walked the fairways of Augusta National for the last time as a competitor. The figure-8 swing was slower now, but it still worked the same way it had since he was a boy with a broken arm on a public course in Kentucky. In June of 2007, Picadome Golf Course, the place where a 10-year-old caddy first taught himself to play, was officially renamed the Gay Brewer Junior Course at Picadome. 2 months later, on August 31st, Brewer passed away at his home in Lexington from lung cancer. He was 75. He left behind 636 PGA Tour starts, 10 victories, 110 top 10 finishes, 2 Ryder Cup appearances, and 1 green jacket. The Kentucky Junior Golf Association established the Gay Brewer Junior Grant, supporting young golfers every year in his name. In 1968, Brewer published a book titled Gay Brewer Shows You How to Score Better Than You Swing. It was meant as golf instruction, but it was really the story of his life. You don't need a perfect swing to achieve something great. You just need to keep swinging.
Don't ever let anybody change your swing. He said, stick with what you got and you'll be a winner.